Hey guys, welcome back to the Outdoor Navigator. So not too long ago I told you I was going to be putting out a kayak series, especially focused on buying your first kayak. Well, in today's episode, once you buy that kayak, I'm going to tell you the essentials that you must have when you get it. So you're going to want to hear about this. Let's go. Alright guys, welcome back to the Outdoor Navigator. Well, today I'm going to be talking about those things that you gotta have when you get your fishing kayak. So when you first buy one, these are the things that you're 100% most definitely going to need. So let's pop over here and check out number one. Alright guys, I put out a video before talking about PFDs and the one that I've got, but the most important thing that you're going to need when you have a fishing kayak is you're going to need a PFD. Or if you get in a kayak or canoe in general, I mean, you need one of these. Okay, this is the one that I have. Okay, it's the NRS Chinook, and I did do a video review of it. But if you're going to be fishing out of it, okay, like my kayak right here, you see it's got this high seat. Okay, so you're going to want a PFD that's comfortable, and part of what's going to make that fishing PFD comfortable is this high back flotation. Okay, so when I'm sitting here in my kayak and I've got this thing on, okay, this cushion is going to sit there at the top of my seat. That's going to make it comfortable for me because I don't have that big cushion pushing on me all day and pushing me forward. Okay, it's also lightweight, you know, it's very breathable. It's got mesh here in the back to even help with that breathability. So, you know, I'm wearing this all the time. I have it on the whole time I'm fishing, and I want it to be comfortable, and this one definitely is. So when you go to buy one, don't skimp. I mean, you know, it may cost a little bit more, but get you one that's going to be comfortable, and especially comfortable for bass fishing. All right, so utility is another thing that I find important, and that's why I like to have plenty of pockets. Okay, maybe even some places to snap things too. So I like to keep a knife on me, so if I have to cut something away from me, I like pockets because I can keep my phone in there, I can keep fishing tackle in there, and man, you know, I don't know, you might get hungry, and hey, you might want to have some snacks in there. So, you know, I like to have everything good and accessible so I can get to everything. Now, that's pretty much for it. Now, the only thing about this that I would improve on, or that I might do different if I could. So I've got a couple different ones. This one also pretty much got the high back and the mesh. It's comfortable, it's got pockets in the front. But the one thing different about this one is the bright yellow. I do like the idea of a high visibility PFD, okay? That way, if you're out paddling across the lake, you know, it makes you more visible to boats that are out there running 70 miles an hour. Or if you happen to get in the water, you know, you got this thing floating up there and hopefully maybe somebody can see you, okay? So I do like the idea of high visibility with my PFDs, but PFD, the most important thing. All right, guys, so number two important thing that you need to get, a must-have when you get your kayak, you got to have something to motor that thing down the lake or down the stream or whatever. You got to have something, and you don't want to get caught up creek without a paddle. So you're going to want to get you a paddle. Okay, now this is another area that I don't recommend that you skimp on, okay, because some of those real cheap paddles, okay, the blades, you know, are real flimsy. You want one that's pretty stiff. Okay, as far as overall length, you should get one for the average person. 230 centimeters is pretty good. Now, some of these fishing kayaks are a little bit wider, so I wouldn't be afraid to go up to 250. Okay, so this is one that I have, and you got a bunch of different styles. Now here's another one that I have. This is made by Ascend. It's not a real expensive kayak or paddle. It's somewhere probably close to $100, but I do like this right here. You see that little hook? I like that because I have used that a lot of times when I was fishing and I have a bait hung up underwater. I can hook that on my line and kind of follow it down, and a lot of times I'm able to break that bait loose. So it has saved me a couple times, but I will tell you, when you're paddling and there's a lot of moss, a lot of times that moss will get caught on that. So you know, it can get you sometimes. But yeah, you got to have a paddle. I mean, even if you've got a pedal drive or you got a motor driven kayak or whatever, you know, things fail, and you want something you can depend on, so don't skimp on your paddle. All right, let's go to the next one. All right, guys, so we started off talking about safety, and there's a couple other safety things that I think you need to have on your kayak, and sometimes they're required. So one thing I recommend having is a whistle, okay? And I keep my whistle actually attached to my PFD, so that way if I get in trouble, I can go ahead and blow that. And hey, you know, when you're out there and you're wanting to get somebody's attention, and you know, you're yelling and yelling and yelling, your voice goes hoarse or whatever, you know, you can always hopefully depend on that good whistle. So a whistle, hey, I'd have one of those with me. Now I also recommend, I don't have it on my boat right now, but a high visibility flag, okay? That way when you're crossing those lakes, and you got those boats running 70, 100 mile an hour, you know, you want to be as visible as you can. I told you I like the idea of a high vis PFD. Well, also you get that flag up there, you know, that high vis flag that lets everybody know you're out there. Hopefully they'll see you. Now also, if you fish at nighttime, okay, you want that 360 light up there, that white light, okay, and that's required. So, you know, if you plan on fishing at night, you're going to want to have that, and that's going to be one of those must-haves. All right, guys, so talking about something else that I like to keep with me and I think is a must-have is, I think it's a good idea to have some tools. On my kayak, I've got my bag here mounted behind my seat, and inside this bag I've got some tools. Okay, I've got at least one tool. Okay, this here is my Allen wrench that fits my pedal drive, okay, mainly for my pedals themselves. So if they come loose or something while I'm out there, I can make a repair out there on the water. All right, I'll also, up here in the front, okay, because I'm not going to use this stuff all the time. You know, this is something that just every once in a while, you know, something happens, you need some tools. But if you look right here, I got a waterproof box, and inside this, I just got a couple simple tools. I got a screwdriver, Phillips head, flathead. I got a couple more Allen wrenches, and I even got an air horn in there. You know, I told you I had a whistle, but I got an air horn in there too. So, you know, keep some tools with you in case you have any problems and you got to make a repair out there on the water. All right, guys, so you're out there fishing like me, and you catch on to that big old hog, man, that monster. And you want to make sure you get it in because you want to brag all your friends, because if you ain't got a picture, it didn't get caught. So in order to make sure that it don't get off, or at least hopefully help to ensure it don't get off, all right, I think you need to have some kind of dip net. Okay, now you got them, they come in all different prices, you know, I mean, they can be up to $100. Okay, this is one I got from Walmart, and I'd say it's under 20, but I keep it stored back behind my seat. I keep it to where I can get to it really quick and practice with it so you can deploy it. And you know, this may be the thing, man. It gets that big bass in the boat, and let the bragging begin. All right, guys, still on the subject of catching fish. Okay, when you do catch a fish or you're tying on a bait, okay, a lot of times there's going to be tools that you're going to need, okay, during the day to assist you with that. Number one, I think you need to have a good pair of snippers. All right, so this is just made by a company called Boomerang Tool Company, okay, and it's tethered off, so that keeps it, you know, that keeps it there right by my seat so I can get to it real easy. And you know, this will clip mono, fluorocarbon, it'll cut braid, you know, to cut any of those things. So when you're tying on baits or taking baits off, you know, you want to have something there close at hand so you can do that stuff. Another tool that I recommend is having a pair of needle nose pliers. Okay, and I've got mine stored right here in my seat. They're tethered off. It's easy for me to get to, so I get these out here. These here are no rust, okay, and they're made out of aluminum, so I would recommend that, because these are going to be out in the weather and you don't want them to get all rusted up, not work. But you know, you may have to do some maintenance on them from time to time, oil them up a little bit and keep them working real good. So, you know, it's always good to take care of your gear. It'll take care of you. All right, one other thing that I recommend, once you get that big fish in, maybe that fish got some big old teeth. All right, I like to have a pair of fish grips, okay, and I've also seen these used. Okay, you can get a fish, you can grip onto it, then you can, you know, throw it over in the lake, And that way, while you're messing around getting your camera out to take that big old picture, you know, he can sit there and put him back in his environment so he don't suffocate. And then when you're ready to, you know, take that big picture, you can pull him back up and get it. There you go. Those are the tools I recommend that you definitely need to have. All right, guys, so another must-have. Now, a lot of boats already have these, okay? They're equipped, especially your fishing kayaks. They'll be equipped with these. Okay, so hold on, let me flip it around. All right, so a lot of times you're already going to be equipped with these rod holders, okay? This is a forward-facing one that's right up by my seat, okay? And what's really good about this is if you are out there fishing and you happen to catch a fish and you get him in, and then you got to get him off the hook and everything else. So it's good to have a place to put your rod and reel, so that while you're messing with that, it don't fall out of the boat and go to the bottom, because I mean, it happens. You better believe it happens. All right, so a lot of times they also have them back here in the back, okay? Back here in the back, and you know, you've got that. Right now I've got my boat here to where I can't hardly put it in there, but you know, you've got two. Usually you'll have two in the back that you can put them in, okay? So you can carry, you know, I guess you could carry 3 rods. You could have one you're fishing with and the 2 that are back there. You know, sometimes it's nice to have a couple different rods rigged up with some different kind of baits. So if your boat doesn't come with those already built into them, you may have to buy an aftermarket rod holder, okay? And there's all kinds of companies that make them. Scotty, Ram, Yak Attack. I mean, there's a bunch of different ones out there. You do need one. I mean, you definitely need one up front somewhere. I just feel like you should have one, because when you get messing with fish and stuff like that, you don't want to accidentally drop that pole over in the water. You want somewhere you can put it out of the way, okay, to where you can work on things. All right, so fishing kayaks and being out on the water. So since we're on the subject of water, sometimes water comes from different places other than lake. Sometimes it comes from the sky. So something I recommend that you have in your first fishing kayak, a must-have. Number 1, all right, this is my rain suit. Okay, I've actually got a top and bottom, and it's just a cheap Frog Togs. I mean, it doesn't take up a whole lot of space. It's not that heavy, but I keep one with me because I can tell you, every time that I go fishing, it's not the best day. It's always the worst day, and it's usually raining, and man, it's nice to be able to not get soaked, if you know what I'm saying. All right, the other thing, talking about water, keep you a waterproof bag, okay? So if you get hot and you end up taking off some clothes or something, you got something to store them in so they don't get wet if it starts raining. You know, you can keep all kinds of different things in there, but you know, it gives you an option for dry storage, and it doesn't weigh anything. I mean, I just put it back here in that bag behind my seat, so you know, it comes in real handy. All right, so let's move to the next one. All right, now another thing that I definitely recommend that you have when you get your first fishing kayak, and I keep it back here stored behind my seat, but I recommend you get yourself a waterproof box, okay? And you can pick these up at Walmart or whatever, but the purpose of this is to put things in that you don't want to get wet. So when I first get to the water, I take my wallet and I put in here. Sometimes I'll put my phone in there, I'll put my keys in there, and if I'm carrying any personal protection, sometimes I go ahead and put it in there, okay? I put it in there, and then I stick it back in my bag and I tie it off. That way, you know, the things that I don't want to get wet, in case I tip over, I can keep those things dry, hopefully. Let's move on to the next one. All right, man, we're almost done. Now, another thing that you're going to need is something to store all that fishing tackle in, okay? And for years, kayak fishermen have been using this one thing that's relatively cheap, and I mean, you'll see them on boats all over the place. I mean, pros use them, just regular old anybody uses them, okay? So it's a good starting place. So let's flip this around for the grand reveal. Bam. All right, it's this regular old crate. All right, the old milk crate, whatever you want to call it, egg crate. I mean, I think milk crate is maybe the proper term, but you can pick these up about anywhere. You know, you can pick them up at Walmart, or you can get them on Amazon. I mean, they don't cost much at all, but you know, you'll see people, they'll have them back behind their seats. Most of the time they'll have them tied off somehow in the back, and then inside that, you know, they'll have their tackle boxes. A lot of times they'll just use like you know, your 3600 tackle boxes or something about that size, and that way you can organize all your baits back there. Now I use this. There's tons of other options, and there's videos with upgrades. Playing over top me right now is this one guy that I follow, Wendell Fishing. Okay, he does he made one up, or he modified his, and I mean, I really like it. If I hadn't moved into something else, that's probably what I would have looked at. But there's all kinds of videos where you'll find people have modified, and you'll see them with rod holders on the side and all kinds of stuff. So what I use is the Plano soft crate. Okay, and I really like this thing, and I've done multiple videos about it, and I'll put a link up there in the card. But like I said, there's all kinds of different things to store your tackle in, but something to store your tackle in is a must. So guys, I'm gonna sum this up here in a little rhyme. So whether you're on the lake or the creek or the pond or the sea, you're gonna have to pee. That rhymes. But anyway, you're gonna have to pee. I mean, that's just bottom line if you stay out there very long. So I recommend having, of all things, this has got a real technical term, okay? So you might want to write this down. This is a pee cup, okay? Need to have you a pee cup. Now, I'm speaking to the fellers that are out there fishing. You know, this is going to work for you. The ladies, man, I don't know. I know there are things out there. Maybe I'll Google it here in a minute, and I won't come up as being some creepster or anything, but there are things out there. I know there are. I'll try to find some info, and I'll put it down in the description. But you know, when you get out there, you're gonna have to pee, and you know, you want to try to be discreet. You want to find somewhere, you know, where people ain't watching you. If you can, it's always best to, you know, get out and go up somewhere where you got some facilities. You know, that's the proper answer. But let's be real. Sometimes it happens out there where there ain't any. But you're not going to stand up and lean over the boat and pee. Okay, if you try that, you're going to fall in, you're going to get wet. So get you a pee cup. All right, guys, so that wraps up what I think you got to have when you get your first fishing kayak. Those are the must-haves. I mean, just the simple things to go out on the water and start fishing. I think you need to have all those things. Now, coming up in my next video, you know, you can look at my boat and there's stuff hanging on it all over the place. And man, that's what's so cool about kayak fishing, man, especially when you get a boat that's upgradable, because you can buy so much more stuff for it. And I have bought a lot of stuff, and I found that stuff to be very useful, or at least that's what I told my wife to justify all of it. But we're going to talk about the must-have upgrades in the next video in this series. And I appreciate you stopping by. If you haven't subscribed, hey, subscribe to my channel. We'll talk kayak fishing. If you're into something else outdoors, like hiking, camping, or RVing, or sightseeing, or frisbee golf, or any of that kind of stuff, in my playlist I've got links to all kinds of different outdoor activities, because I'm the outdoor navigator, and life is better when you navigate outdoors. So navigate outdoors, and I'll see you in the next episode. Peace.